What if I told you that one man changed the course of history more than emperors, kings, and even entire civilizations? A man who rose from nothing, no wealth, no army, not even a home, to build the largest empire the world has ever seen. How did an outcast from the freezing Mongolian steppe become the most feared and powerful ruler of all time? Temujin was not born into power. In fact, his early life was a nightmare. His father was poisoned when he was just a child. His own tribe abandoned him, leaving his family to starve in the unforgiving Mongolian wilderness. Most people wouldn't survive, but Temujin wasn't like most people. From a young age, he understood one thing. Strength wasn't just about muscle, it was about loyalty. He started gathering followers, not through fear, but by offering them something rare, fairness. He didn't care about noble blood or family ties. If you were strong, if you were loyal, you had a place by his side. Slowly, he did what no one before him could. He united the warring Mongol tribes. These were people who had spent centuries raiding and killing each other. But under Temujin, they became one. And once they were united, they needed a leader. So in 1206, Temujin took on a new title, Genghis Khan, the universal ruler. And with that, the world had no idea what was coming. Genghis Khan didn't just win battles, he changed the way wars were fought forever. His army wasn't the biggest, but it was the deadliest. Why? Because it wasn't built on brute strength. It was built on speed, strategy, and fear. His soldiers were masters of mobility. Each warrior had multiple horses, allowing them to ride for days without stopping. They could cover vast distances faster than any other army in history, striking before their enemies even knew they were coming. But it wasn't just speed, it was psychological warfare. Genghis Khan made sure his enemies feared him before he even arrived. He spread rumors of his army being invincible. Cities that resisted were wiped off the map. But those who surrendered, they were spared. This forced entire kingdoms to submit without even fighting. And when he did fight, his tactics were unmatched. He used fake retreats to lure enemies into traps. His spies infiltrated enemy cities long before an attack, gathering intelligence. He even adopted the best weapons and siege techniques from the civilizations he conquered. Genghis Khan wasn't just a warlord. He was a builder of empires. Conquering land was one thing, but keeping it under control? That required something even greater than military power, a system. First, he created laws that applied to everyone, rich or poor, Mongol or not. Loyalty was rewarded, betrayal was punished, and merit mattered more than birthright. For the first time, even a commoner could rise to power if they were capable. Then, he revolutionized trade. He secured and expanded the Silk Road, turning it into the safest trade network in the world. Merchants, travelers, and scholars moved freely, carrying goods and ideas across Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Under his rule, knowledge and technology spread like never before. And unlike many conquerors, he didn't try to erase different cultures. He embraced them. He allowed religious freedom, recruited scholars from different lands, and even took ideas from the people he conquered. The Mongol Empire wasn't just about war, it was about connection, innovation, and progress. But of course, not everything was peaceful, because when Genghis Khan built something, it was always backed by one thing: absolute control. Genghis Khan didn't just defeat his enemies, he erased them. His conquests weren't about small battles or simple victories. When a city resisted, it wasn't just conquered, it was wiped off the map. Men, women, children, no one was spared. Some estimates say his campaigns led to the deaths of 40 million people. That's more than the population of some modern countries. But this wasn't just mindless violence, it was calculated terror. His reputation alone could break an enemy before the battle even began. Entire cities would surrender without a fight just to avoid his wrath. And those who refused, they became an example. He also used cruelty as a strategy. He would send survivors to spread the horror of what happened to those who resisted. Other rulers might have fought honorably, but Genghis Khan fought to win. And in his world, mercy was a weakness. Yet, despite the destruction, his empire also brought stability. Trade routes flourished, cultures mixed, and laws kept order. But the question remains, was he a necessary force of history, or simply the most ruthless conqueror the world has ever known? Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to tap the bell icon next to it. Even the greatest empires don't last forever. After Genghis Khan's death in 1227, his sons and grandsons expanded the empire even further, conquering lands from China to Eastern Europe. At its peak, the Mongol Empire was the largest contiguous empire in history, but holding it together was another story. The problem? Power struggles. His descendants started fighting over territory, breaking the empire into separate regions known as khanates. Over time, they grew weaker, clashing with each other instead of expanding further, and with time, the empire faded, swallowed by history. But Genghis Khan's legacy? That never disappeared. His influence still shapes the world today. He reshaped trade, turning the Silk Road into a global superhighway of goods and ideas. His military strategies are still studied in war academies. Even his genetic legacy is massive. Some studies suggest that millions of people today carry his DNA. So, was Genghis Khan just a ruthless destroyer, or was he a visionary leader who changed the world forever? Maybe he was both. But one thing is undeniable. He wasn't just a man. He was a force of history. Genghis Khan's story is one of extremes: ruthless destruction and brilliant innovation, bloodshed and progress, fear and unity. He didn't just conquer land, he reshaped civilizations. He built an empire that connected the world like never before, yet his name is still spoken with both awe and horror. So, was he a tyrant or a genius? A monster or a mastermind? Maybe the truth is, history isn't black and white. Genghis Khan was both the storm and the foundation, the destroyer and the builder. Love him or hate him, one thing is certain: his impact didn't end with his death. It still echoes through time. If you enjoyed this video, here's a quick task for you. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget to tap the bell icon next to it. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.